Hey y'all, my name is Denise. Some of you may know of me from my son. He goes by Baby Soldier. And I just wanted to give y'all a look into my life and some things that I have went through, some things that I'm currently going through. And also, I want to talk about some things that a lot of families don't talk about, particularly Black families. I know a lot of other families, go through certain things, but I know for a fact that a lot of Black families don't talk about certain things. Black families sweep a lot of stuff under the rug. Things can happen and it don't get talked about. You can just continue to be family, continue to go to family gatherings and stuff like that. But things that need to get talked about, it's like it's ignored. Or maybe if we don't talk about it, it's like it didn't happen. Or maybe if it don't get talked about, it'll go away, or whatever the case may be. And I know that a lot of families don't talk about things too, because it it shames the family, it embarrasses the family. It, I guess, tarnish the family name. I don't know. um a lot of families don't want people to know and see that they are not this big happy family. A lot of families put on a facade and make it seem like everything is okay when it's not. They make it seem like they have the perfect family when they don't. And like I said, a lot of things just get swept under the rug. But when that happens, when things just get swept under the rug and things don't get talked about, it causes a lot of trauma. And it caused a lot of trauma for the kids, because you can see something when you growing up, or when you're a child. You can see something that happens, or something could have happened to you when you were a child, and you don't talk about it. And it causes trauma within your childhood, and it can carry over to your adulthood if you don't get that taken care of, and if you don't heal from certain things. And a lot of people in my generation, it's almost like we were programmed to not speak about a lot of things. It was real different back then than how it is now. And if we were to talk about certain things, it was we were being disrespectful, or we were being too grown. It wasn't a lot that we could say and do back then that kids nowadays have a lot of advantage now, and a lot of options and privileges now that we didn't have back then. And I want to say that we was kind of like dumbfounded and isolated, because as for me, I didn't get taught anything, like anything whatsoever. um I'm gonna take y'all back all the way to as far back as I can remember, which is the age of 5 and 6 years old. Now I'm gonna get real deep into deep details, and I just want to address some things. And I want to do it because I want to help somebody. I want to help somebody heal, or start your healing journey, because like I said, a lot of things in your childhood, it carries over to your adulthood if you don't get it looked into or taken care of, and you don't heal from it. Now, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, Well, first let me just explain where I come from. I come from a home of two parents. I grew up in a two-parent home. I always had my mom and my dad. My mom was, at that time, she was the best mom. I can remember her doing everything that mom should do with her kids or with her child. She went to my school for activities and events that I had at school. I can remember her getting up with me every morning for school, cooking me breakfast, and then she would walk me to school. I can remember a whole lot. Like, around the ages of 5 and 6 years old, those are like my most memorable moments, because a lot happened around that age, and a lot happened to me around that age. So it's like, it's fresh in my mind as if it just happened today. So I can remember a whole lot that happened back then. And right now, in this day and age, a lot of things we didn't know back then, and we couldn't like grasp or wrap our minds around then. But when you get older, you can look back on some things and you'll be like, I got it now. Now I understand this, and now I understand that. But like a 5-year-old can't comprehend what a 50-year-old can comprehend. So a lot now I can look back on, and I say, now I see why this and that happened. So back to how I grew up. Around 5 and 6 years old, life was perfect. I mean, I had the best life. It was myself, my parents, and my sister. I only have one sibling. And like I said, I had the best life. I was more attached to my dad than I was my mom. I had a stronger bond with him than I did with my mom. And I will get into other details and situations with other videos. But again, like I said, I understand things now that I couldn't understand then. And yeah, I was a daddy's girl. I loved my daddy with everything in me. I love my mom too, but I just had a stronger relationship with him. When I was about 5 or 6, my parents had this family friend, and he was a disabled man. And like I said, I can look back now, and I know some things now that I didn't know back then. And we didn't have the names of things and illnesses and disabilities and stuff like that. They didn't have the names of them back then. But looking now, I believe the man probably was cerebral palsy, because he had a hard time talking. His mobility was off. But anyway, he used to molest me. And I can remember now, my parents trusted this man. And a lot of times he would babysit me. And I don't know where my parents was, but I do know that sometimes they was in their bedroom. Sometimes they was hungover, because they did have a lot of parties. And I remember everything about everything. They used to have a lot of parties, and sometimes after, like the day after a party, I guess they would be hungover or whatever, and they would be in their bedroom sleep, and the man would come over. We wasn't allowed to open the door for nobody, but my parents trusted this man, so we would let him in, and my parents would be okay with that. and he was I think he was a reverend or a deacon. I don't know exactly which one, but I know it was like something in the church. And he used to walk around with a Bible all the time. And the one time that something happened with me from him was, my parents was in their bedroom, probably asleep. And now kids see certain people for certain things, or they know them from certain things. And when I saw this man, the first thing that came to my mind was, it's time to play, because that's what he did with me a lot. He played with me all the time, but I didn't know his tactics and what he was trying to do and his manipulation, and I didn't know, what he was trying to do at that time. And I just saw this man as, I guess, my friend, or just somebody who, just my friend, I guess, because he played with me a lot, like I said. And like with my granddaughter, when she see my husband, which is her grandfather, when she see him, I don't care where he is or when he come back or whatever, the first thing pops in her head is, did you get me something? Did you buy me something? Because he always buy her toys and treats and snacks and stuff like that when he come home. So that's what her mind think about every time she sees him. So that's how I was. My mind just thought about, every time I saw him, he was going to play with me. Well, how he used to do it, he would like put me on his lap. And back then we used to call like a slide at the park, we used to call it back then a sliding board. And what he would do is he would put me like on his lap, and yes, his mobility was not that great, but he could do a lot of things. And he would put me on his lap and like slide me down on his private area. And I would feel him with an erection, but I had no clue at like 5 and 6 years old. I had no clue what was going on. I didn't know what that was. I just had no clue whatsoever. And that's how he started with doing stuff like that. And eventually it went from that to he would put my hand on his private area, he would touch mine. And it was just like that was going on from the time when he first started coming around to the time we moved away from where we was living at. And one time he like stepped it up. And like I said, I can remember everything step by step, from detail to detail about everything. And this one particular time, I remember what I was wearing that day. I remember all that. We used to wear back then like what we called sundresses, and the straps